So whenever the traffic comes from a LAN side, it will forward to management or internet cloud from a firewall. So we'll do this particular lab first. See how to do everything is written in a PDF document step by step. See, if you go, you can do it via CLI or via GUI. See how to do it from a CLI I mentioned in guide, but mostly I will be using a GUI in this particular lab. Okay, how to do it, where to go, everything is written. If you do a labs, you will get to know. Let me see if any static routes are there. I don't know. There is no static routes. So in our lab topology, we need to write a default route from a port 1, and the next hop will be 1. Okay, in my scenario, next hop is 10.0.0.1, which is pointing to management cloud. In your case, it can be different, which is your home router default IP. What is the interface? It will select a WAN interface. Okay, let me check on a firewall now if I have a route came or not. Okay, if you see, we have one default route now available in a firewall. If you have any doubt for this, let me know, because this routing and all is very important in FortiGate. Okay, then second lab is another static routes towards inside VLANs. See, in inside we have two VLANs, right? 10.10, 20.20. If a traffic is going from inside to a firewall need to send back traffic, right? For this, firewall need to have inside routes towards this particular switch. So what we will do, we will write 10.0/24, 20.0/24 towards this particular switch, which is 5.254. As of now, we don't have these routes on a firewall. Let me show you. Get route. See, as of now, we have one route towards port 1, which is default route. Then one is connected directly on port 1. One is connected directly on port 2 and port 4. But we don't have anything with 192.168.10 series. Let me initiate a ping. Let me check on a switch if we have a default route. Okay. On switch, I have default route towards firewall. Let me initiate a ping now. First, let me ping firewall 5.1. This is a firewall IP. .1 ping is not enabled. Let me enable ping on this interface. Request timeout came. So what is happening? Traffic is coming till a firewall, but firewall doesn't know where to send this traffic back, right? Let me show you. First we'll write a route for this particular PC 10.10 and we'll see. I again started a continuous ping on this particular PC and we'll see. Okay. As soon as I write
Either
a route,
what is the gateway means, like it is next hop IP or
next hop IP.
okay, okay.
Yeah. As soon as I write a route, we get the ping response from a firewall now. You see? You see on a switch firewall we have a route now available. See 10.0 available via 5.24 254. Is it clear?
Can you please go back to the diagram once?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, from where you initiated the traffic?
We
From
initiate traffic from this particular VLAN PC.
okay, VLAN 10
This is
191
source and destination is a firewall.
firewall 191.168.5 series, right?
Correct. Firewall LAN interface,
Okay.
which is this particular port. I'm trying to ping on this particular port from this VLAN. Traffic is going till this particular port, but it is not able to reach. This firewall doesn't have a route, so it is getting dropped on firewall. If you want to do that particular debug or something, we can do it on firewall. Let me show you.
But you invited 191.168.10.0, right?
Correct. We need to write. Let me explain you 1 minute. See, this is your firewall. This is your switch. Okay. Firewall is connected to a switch and switch is connected to one particular VLAN. Okay. This is 10.0 series. This particular link is 5.0 series. This is 5.1, 5.254. Okay. Now traffic is initiating. We are sending a traffic from this to 5.1. Source is 10.10. 1 minute. Yeah, Daniel, you have something?
I want to ask you some question. Yeah, I'm running IOL on the layer three switch.
Let
I'm
me
not
complete
running
this
the.
particular thing and we can go to your question.
Yeah, quick question. Just a quick question. You know that you got gigabit interface, right? Gigabit zero slash one, gigabit zero to on layer three switch. I'm only got Ethernet zero and one. I don't have gigabit interface. How do I get gigabit interface? Do I have to
For a
run a
gigabit
different
interface, you need to do on VSIO. VIOS,
VS?
VIOS, it will not work on ILO. For a gigabit interface, VIOS image should be there. I shared you
Can
that image, I think.
you post the image I need to download for the?
Yeah, I
So I
mentioned
use
in the format.
Cisco Linux, which is yeah.
Okay.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, so we are initiating the traffic from this particular. This is the initiator. Traffic is going from 5.10.10 to 5.1. Traffic reached till firewall. Firewall received the traffic and the source. When the firewall receives the traffic, source is 10.10, destination is 5.1. Now firewall need to send the traffic back to this particular source. Now what will happen? The source will be 5.1, the destination will be 10.10. When the firewall wants to send the traffic, he will do a route checkup. Where is the 10.10 available? And when the firewall do a route checkup, firewall doesn't have this 10.10. So he will send the traffic to gateway, right? Which is default route. Because it doesn't have one particular specific route available in the firewall. If you don't have anything specific available, we will send the device or router or a firewall will send the traffic to default route every time, right? Is it clear? Hello, hello, we Narayan.
Yeah, Mahinder, I was on mute. Sorry. So I am clear.
So let me do a debug and we'll see how it is happening. Okay, so you will be much clear about that.
Okay, between Palo Alto and the switch, there is a P2P link, right? It's a P2P.
Between firewall and switch, point to
It's a
point
P2P.
connected here.
Yeah. Oh, understood. Understood.
Yeah. As of now we have route towards this particular VLAN. We don't have routes to this particular VLAN now. We will initiate a traffic from this particular VLAN and we'll see debugs now. Debug command, diagnose debug flow trace filter source address 200 dot sorry 20.20 diagnose debug flow trace start 100 1 minute. Let me initiate a ping from another VLAN. We'll see where the traffic is going. Before that, let me remove this debugs. No issue. Request timeout. I will initiate a debug now on firewall and we'll see what is happening. Okay, firewall is capturing these logs. Let me stop ping. Diagnose debug flow trace stop. Okay, okay, now see message received a packet from 20.20 and the destination is 5.1. First it will allocate a new session. Reverse path check failed. Traffic is getting dropped on the firewall itself. Correct? Because it is going on particular interface, but we don't have a route towards this now. So firewall received a packet. Reverse path check failed. It is getting dropped. Now we will write a route and we'll see what happens again. Is it clear? Hello. Think you can do. You can unmute and clear if you don't have any doubts, or you can just drop a emoji or a sticker that yeah it's clear. Now we'll do a yeah, that's clear. Let me write a route now and again we'll see how what happens. Okay, let me again start this. Again I will do a ping from same PC. Okay, I'm getting a ping response. 4 sequence we did. Okay, okay, now see message received a packet from this particular source towards this. First it will check a session is there or not. There is no session, allocate a new session. See, for a ping packet every time firewall will allocate a new session. For every sequence it will allocate a new session. Okay, see sequence 1 had a new session, sequence 2 also had a new session. If you see session is there. Okay, find a route. Now firewall is a find a route, found a route on 5.1 via route. So it will send a packet again. Is it clear? So see, it is not going from interface to interface. It is directly connect. Traffic is coming directly on connected interface. So there is no need to check policy or anything. He will just traffic came on particular interface and need to go back from particular interface. Clear? Is it clear? Let me show you what happens. See what I am trying to say. Traffic came on firewall interface and need to go back from same interface. This came from here, came in, they need to go out again from same interface. It is not going on any WAN or branch router or anything. It is just coming on LAN interface and going back from LAN interface. So you will not see a policy or anything on debug commands. But when the traffic is going from a LAN to WAN side, suppose the fire traffic is coming from a LAN and going to WAN, then you will see a policy on a debug. Okay, let me remove this now. So if you have any doubts in this particular two things, let me know, or else we'll move forward then. See, now we did the default route configuration and a static routes from a LAN to from a firewall to inside LAN. If you have any doubts in this, let me know. So in next lab we will do security policy from LAN to WAN. When the traffic came from VLAN 10 towards a firewall, we have a route, we have reverse route from firewall to VLAN 10, and the traffic is on port 4. This is a destination when we are doing a ping. Now if we are doing a ping, source is 10.10 and destination is 8.8.8.8. What happens after doing a route check? Firewall will first do a route check, then it will do a policy check, because the traffic is coming from a LAN interface and going out to this interface. Now this is a in interface, this is a out interface. When the traffic is going from interface to interface, firewall will do a policy check, and on policy check firewall will say we don't have any policy and it will drop a traffic. So for this type of scenario we need to do a policy configuration on a firewall level. So let me first do a debug for this type of scenario and we'll do a policy after that. Okay, let me initiate a ping.
Mahidar?
Yes,
Okay, so 191.68.10 and 191.68.20, if I want to make the communication between these two policies, not required, right? In
policy is
generally.
not required. Yeah,
So because of gateway is configured on layer 3 switch.
correct.
Okay. Which means like between the two different zones, communication is denied, like in Palo Alto. Oh, sorry, in
In
FortiGate.
FortiGate, yeah. Between
Okay.
two
So,
different interface rules or interfaces, traffic is denied in FortiGate.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So whenever you are doing a gateway on a switch, whether it's a Palo Alto, Cisco, or a FortiGate or any firewall, there is traffic is not going on a firewall. It is directly routing towards the switch, right? So you don't
Correct.
need. Let's see, we'll verify now only. See, ping is there. Okay. This particular PC is 10.10 and we are trying to ping 20.20. So there is no need of firewall role. Okay. Now let me do a trace again. Diagnose, debug, flow, filter. This time source address is 2.168.10.10. Diagnose debug flow trace start 100. Okay, now let me initiate a ping. I stop a ping now. Stop. Okay. Now we'll try see why the traffic is not, why we are not getting a ping response now. See, traffic received on port 1. No, this is a protocol 1. Traffic received on which port? We'll see. Traffic received on port 4, from port 4, and type 8, which is ICMP. This is source, this is a destination. Okay. Sequence 1. We have done 5 pings, right? 5 pings we have done, sequence 5 till. So for sequence 1, allocated a new session, found a route, after route denied by a forward policy check, policy 0. Policy 0 is nothing but a default implicit deny policy on the firewall. Let me show you what is policy 0. If you see policy ID is 0, this is implicit deny which we cannot delete. Okay, so whenever you have any issues, you can do a debugs and check it is going from which policy. Again, received a packet from a port 4, found a route that it should go via gateway, and traffic will go out from port 1. See, traffic is coming from VLAN 10 from port 4, and it needs to go out from port 1. That's how we are seeing in our debugs, right? Traffic came from port 4, need to go out from port 1, but when we do a policy check, it is getting denied. Is it clear? Now we will do a policy, we will write some policies on firewall. Before writing a policy, we will do multiple things. That first we'll do objects creation. In object, what we will do, we will create an address. 3 addresses we will create. See, first address is VLAN 10 PC we will create, which is 192.168.10.10. Okay. Then second object we will create VLAN 20 PC, which address will be 192.168.20.20. Then third object we will create Google ping. Okay, first we'll create these 3 objects, then we'll go to a policy. Let's go to firewall. To create objects, go to policy and object addresses. Create any new address, create address. First address is VLAN 10. Okay, you can create a subnet or IP range FQDN. If you want to block any domain from a policy itself, you can do FQDN. If you want to do geographical blocking, you can do a geographical blocking by country or anything. There are many things we can do with objects, but simple. I will create one address 10.10/32, and it is going from which interface? It is on LAN side. Okay, comment if you want, you can do VLAN 10 PC. Again, another object for VLAN 20 PC, same subnet to 168.20.20/32. it is also on a LAN interface, VLAN 20 PC. Okay, now third object will be 8.8.8.8 Google ping 8.8.8.8/32. This should be on WAN interface. Okay, Google ping. Okay, now we created an object. After object we will write a policy. So how the policy we need to write? Whenever we do any policy write in a firewall, we have multiple things. First we need to define a policy name. Name can be anything of your choice. Then the incoming interface. Then we have out interface. Okay, then we have source address. Then we have destination address. Then service. Service is nothing but the TCP and UDP ports. Okay, TCP/UDP ports. Then in the same policy we have option if you want to do NATing enabled or disabled. NATing if you want to do it or you don't want, in the same policy we have options. So in this for this particular policy we will do in interface is port 4, out interface is port 1, source address is VLAN 10 and VLAN 20 PC, destination is 8.8 which is Google. As of now I will put service as all. See why we are doing this? Traffic is initiating from VLAN 10. Traffic is getting initiated from VLAN 10 and traffic needs to go to 8.8 which is sitting on an interface. So source will be this PC, destination will be 8.8, incoming interface is 8 for port 4, outgoing interface is port 1. Correct? And we will do a NAT on a out interface. When the traffic is going from this particular PC, particular port, we should have a NAT enabled on as a source NAT. Okay, any doubts? Even
Mahidar, is this PAT or stat? I mean, source NAT.
it is just a normal path.
PAT means like many private to one public.
Correct,
That means we are giving internet access to the LAN people, right?
correct.
Okay.
Yeah, one-to-one NATing or for a servers NATing or destination NAT, everything will cover in a separate NAT class. This is just for this particular traffic flow we are enabling. You see, use outgoing interface address. Whenever you do outgoing interface address in Palo Alto, this FortiGate firewall, you have PAT enabled. Okay, traffic from a VLAN 10 PC and VLAN 20 PC. We'll simply rewrite inside the two WAN. Okay, incoming interface LAN interface port 4, outgoing interface WAN port 1, source address VLAN 10 PC, VLAN 20 PC, destination address Google ping. These all addresses we created, right? See, if you don't create an address specific on address tab, you can do address creation from here as well. You can do a create and you can do any new address creation. Okay, then we have services. As of now, I am giving all as a service. Then, if you want, you can give any specific service as well. For a NAT, I am doing a use outgoing interface. Do all session output as of now. Now we have one policy available. Again, we'll do a debug and we'll see how the firewall will do. Darkness debug flow start 100. Let me do a ping start now. Where is a ping happening? 1 minute. We got some traffic. Hold on. What was this actually? Just a minute. Okay. I enabled now filter and debugs. Let me try to ping 8.8 now. Okay. Stop a ping. We'll take trace now. See, previously we were getting blocked because of policy, right? Now try to see. Stop debugs now. Yeah. See, received a packet. Source is 10.10. Destination is 8.8. Received from port 4, type 8, sequence 1. That is the first sequence of ping. Allocated a new session. Found a route via gateway. Then we'll see if any source NAT is configured. Find the source NAT. Then we got allowed by policy 1, and on particular policy we have source NAT configured. So message source NAT. Whenever the traffic came from 10.10, it was natted to this particular okay. So this is a sequence of traffic flow happened. Then again sequence 2. No, received a packet. See, now the traffic flow is, previously we were doing only on particular flow. Reply direction via port 4. Okay, now we'll see this particular thing. For sequence 2 we will delete everything. Sequence of a traffic, when it went, when it received back, everything is available in this. This is when the traffic went from a PC and it went to this particular destination 8.8. if you see, traffic came from 10.10 and it went to the destination is 8.8. When the traffic received on FortiGate firewall, first it see allocated a new session, found a route via gateway port 1, then found a source NAT is configured and found a policy. Then we had this traffic is going from this particular source NAT. But for the same sequence, if you see, message received a packet, source is 8.8, destination is this. Type same sequence is available now. If you see sequence 1, message find an existing session. Traffic went from a firewall and it received back, so it sees the existing session and it is a reply direction. See, whenever we have a ping, we'll do a ping reply, ping request, and we get a ping reply, right? So this particular packet is from a ping reply direction. Then we had like traffic is going. This time we are having a DNAT because traffic came on outside interface and it needs to go to inside VLAN, right? And then we found a route towards this particular thing, trying to offload a session port 1 to port 4. Then whenever you see this dirty handler, if you have anything like URL filtering or web filtering or anything, it will come here like dirty handler. If you don't have anything, you don't see anything here. Is it clear? See, with this particular flow, you can see that so we will do a RIP configuration between a firewall and branch router in this particular lab. Let me initiate. First, we'll do a RIP configuration on a branch router. Then we'll go to firewall to enable a RIP. See, on a branch router, we should have some loopback interface configured. Let me see. Show IP interface brief. We don't have any loopback. Let me configure one loopback interface. Okay, 1 minute. Save, save. Let me see. Ticket firewall device config branch router interface loopback one. Okay, we have one loopback interface now. So IP interface brief 10.10. If you have a 10.10 from a firewall, let's see if we can ping. So sorry, get the router info, routing table all. We have one static routes which is default route and we have these two routes. Let me try to ping 10.10, execute ping 10.10.10.10, getting a reply. Okay, it is directly connected on port 1. What is this 10.10? Let me see. Okay, in my particular LAN I have one 10.10 configured. Go to RIP. See, for we are doing a RIP version 2. Let's enable RIP version 2 here also. Net mask is 10. What is net mask? 10.1.1.0 /24. Okay, we are not doing any authentication here, so just we enable a RIP. Then in couple of minutes we should see that router RIP. Our loopback is 192.168.100.0 series, right? we should see this particular is route is learning via RIP on a FortiGate firewall. Get router info routing table all. You see 192.168.100.0. Next hop is 10.1.1.2, which is via port 2. Which is via port 2. 10.1.1.2 is router IP. And the learning via which R. You see R means it is learning via RIP. Okay. So that's how we can do routing configuration on firewall using the RIP protocol. Next, we will do security policy between a LAN and a branch router and configure routing on a branch router. See, before doing a lab 11, we can do a redistribution. Okay, as of now, we have this particular default route towards a firewall. So we'll do a security policy from LAN to branch first. Okay, let's do this. See, now we have a policy from LAN to WAN, but we don't have policy from LAN to branch, right? Let's do from LAN to branch. Incoming interface LAN, outgoing interface branch, source VLAN 10, VLAN 20. Destination, we need to create a new destination now. Branch loopback. What is branch loopback IP? 32. Interface, branch interface. Okay. Branch loopback IP. Service all. I will not enable a NAT now. We'll see what happens when the traffic flows. All session. Okay. Okay. NAT is not enabled on this particular policy. Now let me try to initiate a ping from branch to loopback. Ping 192.168.100.100. And I will do a debug packets on a branch router as well. Debug IP packet. And debug all. Debug IP ICMP. You see, source is debug this. Open this. See, I did the ICMP. So echo reply sent from source is this, destination is this. Okay. Let me do a debug IP packets first. Again, now we'll see what happens. Let me stop a debug now. Okay. Undebug all. See, we are not getting a reply on our PC now, right? What happened when we did the debug? Source received from this, destination is this. Routed via RIB. Destination this, LAN for received from port 1. For the topology based basic bit of. Let's see if we have a route towards 100.100 in our router. This is different traffic. Okay. Show IP route. 10.10 we don't have any routes on our router now, right? So we are not getting a replies on our interface. But we can do natting on this particular policy. As of now, traffic is receiving from what source? As of now, traffic is receiving from 10.10, right? We don't have a routes to 10.10 from our router. So if you do a natting, traffic will be receiving from different IP. Enable natting, use outgoing interface. Okay. Now again I will start a debug. Debug IP packets. Again we will initiate a ping. After a couple of pings, let me disable a ping and debug all. Yeah. So this time if you see, source traffic is receiving from 10.1.1.1, and this time we could have get traffic. We could have get a ping on our interface, right? Correct. But previously we were not seeing like sending full packet and all. We were just getting like traffic received and all, but there is nothing like see, for this particular traffic we were not saying like sending traffic and anything. We were just receiving traffic and it is showing like unroutable. But now this time when we enable a NAT, traffic was getting received from 10.1 and destination was 100.100. Then he did all checks and he did like sending full packet. Is it clear? Now if you don't want to enable a NAT on a firewall, we have multiple options. Okay, traffic is going from in this direction, initiating from LAN going to branch. So this is the source, this is the destination. Whenever branch, see like traffic is coming from this particular source, this branch router is not having a routing available, right? This branch router doesn't know where is 10.10 available and it is getting dropped on branch router. You see on this particular debugs we can see, right, traffic is getting unroutable on a branch router. See, unroutable. So we have enabled NAT on this particular interface. When we enable NAT, a router or branch router is saying that the source is this now and destination is this. So it is sending a replies back to firewall. So if you don't want to enable this NAT, what we can do, see between firewall and branch router we have RIP configured. Between firewall to LAN we have static route. So what we can do, we can do a static we can do a redistribution. Redistribute a static route into a RIP now. So what happens, whatever static routes configured on a firewall, it will be redistributed into RIP, and this RIP will send our LAN which is 10.10 and 20.20 routes towards a this particular branch router. The branch router will have these routes available in his FIP table. Okay, so let's before that we will disable a NAT again on this particular policy, then we'll do a redistribution on RIP configuration on firewall. Okay, that that would be our next lab even, redistribute between static route and RIP configuration. So before that, let me disable a NAT on this extend, disable NAT. Now we will do redistribution. So it's very simple to do redistribution or routing on FortiGate firewalls. Just go to RIB, click on advanced, See, redistribution, we don't want OSPF redistribution, redistribute static. Okay, before that, let's see if we have any routes. Show IP route. We don't have any routes from a RIP as of now. Just to do a redistribution connected static applied. Okay, now again we'll see in couple of minutes or seconds we should get show IP route. See, now we have two routes available, right? Before that we don't had any RIP routes available. Is it clear how to do redistribution of static into RIP in fortigate? Any doubts you guys having? Okay, so now we don't have natting enabled on our policy. We see nat is disabled. Now again I will do debug enable and we'll do check debug IP packets VLAN 10 to 3. Okay, enough. So now what happens? Undebug, let me do undebug all. Undebug all, okay. Now you see here this particular flow routed via rib sending full packet. Okay, source is 10.10 now again, destination is 100.100. Receive the traffic, sending a traffic again, did the routing available in a rib, sending a full packet. But before that, if when we don't had routing, what was the difference? Receive the traffic seen, but we don't add anything like sending a traffic because it was unroutable, right? After that, when we have a route available, we are getting a reply rate, sending a full packet now. Okay, any doubts you guys are having? Now you can see even we got a ping response. Hello, is everyone there? Let me remove a static route now. Network static routes, delete this as well. Okay, now we need to do static OSPF configuration. First we'll do OSPF on a switch. Before that we need to remove a default route on a switch as well. Show IP route, or else every time if OSPF is not working, it will not be able to do a testing, right? IP, no IP route. Okay, now try to ping 5.1 from this. You are not able to ping. On firewall, do we have a route? Get the router info, routing table all. We don't have any routes for 10 dot and 20 dot. Now we'll do a OSPF configuration on switch and firewall. This is for a switch side. This is a switch. We are advertising two routes on OSPF, and this is directly connected for OSPF neighborship. Go to FortiGate firewall, OSPF, router ID is okay. Create new area, area 0, regular area. What is the network under area 0? 168.5.0/24. Okay, we are not doing any redistribution or authentication as of now, so apply this. Router ID we will give 192.168.5.1, which is this particular interface IP. In a couple of minutes we should see neighborship is up now. Show IP OSPF neighbors. Okay, on a firewall side, let's see routes now. Okay, we received two routes from OSPF. Okay, so that's how we can do OSPF on firewall side. Now try to ping from a VLAN VPC to firewall. But now try to ping again branch router, destination host unreachable, because switch is not having this 100 dot network, right? Previously we were getting we were doing a routing from default route, but now switch is not having 100 dot network. So for this, what we need to do, firewall is getting a 100 dot series from a RIP, so we will do a RIP redistribution in OSPF. To do this, just go to OSPF, redistribute RIP is available. Okay, just apply. Now let's see if we are receiving a RIP configuration. Show IP route. As of now we have not received anything, so wait. Okay, dot we received, which is not required. We received a 100 dot series. Now let's try to ping again. We are getting a ping now. 100.100. That's how we can do RIP redistribution in OSPF. Let's go to RIP and see.
Mahindra, so in that RIP, RIP to EHRP redistribute, oh sorry, OSPF redistribution, we have two things, right? One and two.
OSPF redistribution, what you are saying?
Like, there is a something I have seen. Yeah, so
Metric
it's
2
like,
for version 2, right?
yeah, it's a one type one and type two. Yeah,
So we are doing a version 2, so I selected type 2. No,
version which
this
one?
is OSPF metric, but when we do for a RIP redistribution, we are doing a type 2.
Okay, so what can we do it on type one or maybe
No, usually we do it on type 2 for version 2.
version two?
Let's do a, we did a default route injection. See, as of now we didn't had any default route, right? Now we'll see. Show IP route. You see, we have a default route now available, which is also type 2 default route. Default route we can do for type 1 also. Or default route always. See, default route is available when the firewall is having a default route. It will inject a default route to this particular neighbors. Let me remove a default route from a firewall. Then we'll see if we have a firewall will send a default route towards switch or not. Should not send as per understanding. Let's see. Yeah, if you see, firewall is not having a default route. It will not inject a default route on neighbors. Let's enable a default route again. Now we'll see again if we get a default route. Okay, no, but there is one more option. We connected as a regular area now for a default route. Let's see for always what happens when we have always default route. Now firewall is injecting a default route to OSPF. Let's see, wait for a couple of minutes. We have now default route available. Now let's remove static route. See, firewall doesn't have a default route, but still it is injecting a default route to switch. When we have a option enabled like always on OSPF for a default route injection. See, when we do for regular areas, what happens if a firewall is having a static route or default route available, it will inject a default route. If firewall is not having default route, it will never inject a default route. Then you can do many things like distance modifications you can do. Area types also we have options. Let me show you where is the area type option. Type from type 2. You can see we can create a new area. Then type of area is regular area or stub area. We can check here area types. When we create a new area, we have multiple area types, right? NSS area or stub area. We can select that type of areas in when we create a area on FortiGate firewall. Okay.